Welcome, my friends, to what is going on here? All right, thank you. Thank you, Francesco Lohano. Lohacono. Yeah, but right now I'm just trying to do a little live streaming here. Stop sharing screen. You should see me. It'll be, brace yourselves. There I am. All right. Everybody okay? Everybody, nobody needs a trauma counselor, everybody. Anyway, I'm just testing uh, out an ad hoc setup for this because I broke the screen on my MacBook yesterday. I have to buy a used new one. I was going to try and replace the screen. It's almost impossible to identify the screen. Nobody can find the serial number for my MacBook to find the right screen. And a guy I talked to this morning quoted me $750 for the repair, which is not really worth it. So I had to buy a whole new computer, and I'm waiting for that to come. And I'm back to what I was doing before. I am broadcasting off an old netbook over Melon. Melon is a free online app. Uh, it actually works. Works fair enough for the low production stuff we do here. But yeah, so I'm just seeing if it works, and it does work. It still works. Hello, Judea Hawthorne. I'm sorry, Judson Hawthorne. Judea Walker. I'm sorry, Jay Walker. Mop. Hi, Mop. Moral Outrage. Art Bell. Good to see you, sir. Yeah, no more tests. Well, I'm sorry. I've been working with a friend. He wants to get into doing like podcasts and stuff. He's got a shit ton of great equipment. You can see a little recording we made on this channel, like top there, um, and it looks amazing. We got a little studio set up. It really is awesome, and he's not as far gone as me. Of course, this is a younger dude. He's not as far gone as me in all this. So the podcasts we do will not be quite so based, but I'm doing that, and we'll try and make it work. But I definitely want to start live streaming. Yeah, I know I've said this for like a year now, and I'm just looking for a good time, at least one day a week, ideal time in the day to get the most people available to watch it, and do the Portland Report from here. At least like a Monday or something, a Monday or a Friday, at one end of the week. I think sounds like a plan. Um, yeah, this is the Stone Chromebook, and this is the Chromebook. You should see it. It's ancient. It's been through hell. It's got cracks in the case. It somehow works. The you have to pinch it back together to get the USB cable into it because that's all broken. I'm just hell on technology, man. Cracks are Lindy. Thank you, Everett. Somebody explain Lindy to me, please. I mean, I think I've heard it. If you've explained something to me and it's really simple and I keep forgetting it, I just come to believe that it's just one of these useless, like, Nicholas Nassim Taleb type of things, like anti-fragility that either doesn't mean anything or is better expressed already in some other way. It's just these guys got this word, Lindy. Tell me, Everett, what is Lindy? Bill O'Reilly. Fuck, we'll do it live. We'll do it live. Yeah, I love that Bill O'Reilly video. Bill O'Reilly he was going to burst a forehead vein at one point, if you've seen that video. Yeah, love that vid. All right. Now let's try something. All right. Yes, this is clunky because I got to get used to using Melon, the Melon app. All right, Melon. All right, where are you? Let's share our screen again. Share, yeah. Screen, yes. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the situation here in downtown Portland. I went downtown last week. I hadn't been down in a month. I live right outside, but I no longer work there. And I used to be down there every day. Now I'm hardly ever down there. I go back down last week out of the blue, and I go to my favorite corner. It's 4th and Washington in downtown Portland. And I'm astounded by how bad it was. I took some video. There's a video on my YouTube you can see of a confrontation between a couple of drugged out people. But the circumstances in downtown are worse than they've ever been. They've been bad this whole time. You've been hearing how awful it is here. But the fact is, they've been making a concerted effort as much as they can against the progressive headwinds here. Ted Wheeler and the others, what passes for moderate liberals here, are trying to reclaim downtown because it's a freaking disaster. So they have to do two things. They have to get the homeless off the streets. But because this is Portland, you can't just round people up and kick them off the streets. You can't just push them out of downtown. You have to find a place for them. So for Ted Wheeler to get the ban on camping that he seeks, he has to come up with all these ideas about how housing homeless people. And of course, if you've read my blog, you've seen it. He's got an idea for mass camps. Originally, they want to create these dedicated campsites where people can go and pitch their tent in I guess in an enclosure. Unless they'll have to fence them off. They can go there, and this is insane. You got to see this. He's trying to create these mass camps and herd people into these big camps away from downtown. That's the carrot he's offering to his political opponents to try and rescind the camping ban downtown. It's not going to work. It's clearly not going to work. But since he's introduced this idea about a year or more or so ago, they've been doing what they can to try and clean up downtown streets, but and it started looking better, marginally better. I was noticing it myself and commenting on it. Then I go downtown after maybe a month or two of not even being there, and it's a disaster. It's worse than it ever was. So I went to my favorite spot to go see the decay. 4th Avenue in Washington in downtown Portland, right? There's an Irish pub there. I forget what it's called. But they've taken over a building I've been sort of fascinated with for years. It's been closed since about 2018. It's this big, ugly, multi-use building, like a little indoor mall that you might see, right? And it covers a little street block. And there's a bank, and there was a restaurant, and there was a couple of things, a theater. It's been closed since 2018, since before the shit hit the fan down here. And they had it fenced off with fencing like you see here. Well, as things got worse, that thing, of course, drew more and more homeless people who hung around there. And now, almost 3 years on from the rioting, This building is, even the newspaper. I wish people listened to me because me and my buddy were reporting on this a couple of weeks ago. Um, that this building at Fourth and Washington is it's an open drug house. It's an open drug market now, and they're selling drugs right on the street, and people are getting high right on the street. This video here is from last week. We took video yesterday. I didn't have my phone or camera on me, so I had to borrow my friend's phone. I'm waiting to get it. But the video we took yesterday, it's much, noticeably worse than what you see here. That building had people lined up all along it. And I swear to God, nearly everyone, little groups, right, all along the way, and nearly everyone, they were actively getting high. They had the foil out and they had those straws to cook whatever the hell they do now. I'm going to have to bring myself up on this, on the usage of this stuff. And we got some crazy plans too. I'm probably going to try and walk amongst them and communicate with them and just try and get an idea what it's like down there. Yesterday we were driving around. I'm holding my friend's phone out of the car, but it's so sketchy you don't even feel safe pointing your camera. When I took this video here, in fact, last week, I took this shot. No, this is later. But anyway, I took a video last week. You probably saw it here. Let me show you this. It's insane. Anyway, I'll show you that in a minute. I took a video of an encounter right here. But anyway, when we came back yesterday, significantly worse. Everybody's high. Everybody's a mess. And what struck me about now the weather's bad, so it's keeping out the few. There's still a few normal people will find their way down here, but the sketchy people definitely outnumber the non-sketchy people. The homeless and general riffraff definitely outnumber normal people who are kind of weaving their way through. And among the homeless, they're overwhelmingly of that kind of homeless, that's utterly helpless drug addict type. I mean, you've got levels to homelessness. You've got functioning vagabonds, you've got all kinds, and you've got the person who's just, not long for this world. They can barely get off the ground. Literally, they can barely get off the sidewalk to go get the services that are offered or whatever. Anyway, it's profoundly bad. And after I got a look at this last week, I just said, there's no way they're reclaiming downtown. There's no way with what they've got so far that they're going to reclaim downtown. It's lost. And here's just a snippet. Yeah, anyway, after I shot that first one, this is the drug market, 4th Avenue in Washington. And this was during the day last week. And like I said, yesterday it was worse. More people. All these people are getting high. See, there's a guy cooking up. There's a guy cooking up. There are two guys cooking up. It's astounding. Yeah, and last week when I rode my motorcycle down there, so I pull up on 4th Ave in Washington, and I notice it's really awful. So I say, okay, I'm going to get off the bike and take a look. And I get off the bike and I start walking towards this little convenience store where they always converge. And this happened. You find this. Hang on, where are you? Yeah, this is, like I said, I just got there. Get off the bike, get out the phone. Walking to this little besieged convenience store, Pete's Market. And this is what I come upon. First thing. Do we have sound? Oh, too bad. You got to hear the sound. And this spot's been bad for years, since before things went to hell. If you could have saw this poor old bastard too. So this woman, the one woman was throwing things at this guy. He let out the most miserable howl. I mean, it just heart-wrenching, pathetic howl. And so right after I took this, I go around the block and I'm approaching that corner from the other side, and I'm holding my phone, I think surreptitiously. And I'm filming as I walk, like I did there. And I hear from over, and this really sketchy group, right? And there's this one tall, feral-looking black kid, skinny, freaky kid, right? You filming, bro? Oh, fuck, right? So I just pretend like I don't hear him, keep walking, and hope that, these guys don't fucking pursue me. I get to my bike, shit, it's right there, right where they can see it. And I hear some drug-addled voice saying, get his license plate, get his license plate. And I look back, and Freak Boy is, the Negro is filming me, right? So I just still pretend like I don't see him, and I put the key in the ignition first. And I'm putting on the gloves. I'm going real slow, like, no, I'm just a cool guy. I'm not, But I imagine myself tearing out of there doing a wheelie as they fucking chase me like zombies. Anyway, it's dangerous to film down there. You can't just pull your phone out like you used to get away with, because that's an open air drug market there. No police. I saw no police at all. I mean, not even driving by. So it's, like I said, the local the local papers have picked it up, but we'll see what happens. And we'll be getting down into that whole mess soon enough. And you know what's funny? About the time I started paying attention to this, my friend says, oh, you ever seen that show True Detective? Oh, True Detective. Okay. I don't like to dive into shows anymore. I don't like to spend too much time on TV. I watch too much YouTube as it is. So, okay, let me try it. I've heard so many good things about it. So I start watching the first season of True Detective. And Matthew McConaughey, right? That character, they just give him these Schopenhauer, Nietzsche-esque, bleak riffs, right? On a lot of things that's the kind of that I'm not entirely sure I don't believe myself, but it just seemed weird. In fact, yeah. So yesterday, I came back from yesterday's experience downtown was jarring. I mean, I'm so freaking detached at this point. I'm so burnt out. I'm so admittedly desensitized to it all, that I'm going down there and smirking about it. Yeah, I'm saying it's wrong, you know what I mean? But I'm taking this perverse pleasure in it and telling you about it and everything. But yesterday, it was just heartbreaking. It was just like, holy shit, this is real. All this time. And I'm saying, yeah, this is real. And I can't even laugh. I can't even make any jokes anymore. It's heartbreaking. And I told my friend, I see everybody in America should have to take this tour. Everybody in America should have to walk this fucking block. And I don't want to hear shit about how things are okay. And no, you people are fucking lunatics. And there are still people here in Portland, If I post one of my little pictures or clips of the mess, somebody somewhere is going to show up and say, post a picture of, a nice park, where no homeless are in sight for the moment, and say, you're cherry picking. Well, I'm not cherry picking. There's something else I'm picking. I'm picking little pieces of shit out, I guess. But, that's going to get harder and harder for them to do. because even up till maybe a couple of months ago, I was still thinking of Portland as being a mess, but still safe and still with enough of that old Portland not yet deteriorated that you couldn't describe it as completely gone. You couldn't describe it as a mess, just a place that was, that had blighted areas in it. But now it's just forget it. Forget it. It's over. They're not going to reclaim downtown without a fundamental shift. And what is contributing to this? There are a couple of factors. We passed something called Measure 110 in 2020, I think. It was 2020. We got a raft of legislation following the George Floyd riots, and it wasn't just. There's a direct connection, by the way, too, between the rioting and the legislation that the political arm of this movement brought in as a result of the rioting, as a result of people getting their property destroyed, as a result of one or two people getting murdered, as a result of countless people getting assaulted and everything. That is directly related to the legislators who came in later under Tina Kotek, our new governor, and brought us a raft of legislation, right? They didn't get everything they wanted, thankfully, but they, everything around racial justice, but also related stuff, things about homeless. They just pushed. The Democrats in Oregon took every advantage they could out of 2020 and the terror, the shock that the state was in, and they pushed every bad idea, including among them Measure 110, legalizing possession and usage of drugs. Drugs are legal in Portland. There's also the ban on camping that they rescinded for COVID that could never be reinstated because of the homeless advocacy of the progressives here. So you've got drugs are legal, tents are legal. You can pitch it wherever you want, right? And the cops are gone. Of course we've got drug markets downtown. Of course this is happening. It's surprising that it's taken this long to get this far. But yeah, that's where we're at. And you combine that with the demoralization and reduction in police services. It's just a perfect storm of decay. All right, let's share this with you. We get these stories daily, by the way, daily. We get stories about cops running out of Narcan because they've used it all up. We get stories of cops having to use 5 Narcan shots on a guy to revive him. And we get stories of cops who don't have the Narcan for the person because they're out. And they're advising people. I guess this isn't just here, but they're advising parents and random people. Just carry the Narcan in case you need it. This is from KOIN News. 11 ODs, 3 deaths in a 12-hour period in Portland. Posted April 1st. Not an April Fool's joke, sadly. Overdoses believed to be fentanyl-related incidents. And you may already know this, but fentanyl, now we're getting fentanyl in different forms. We're getting more of it, and before they were lacing other things with fentanyl. Now they're just selling these little pills. They're just fentanyl, and they're made to look like authentic pharmaceutical pills of some sort. And you can get them for $2. One story I read, the dealer supposedly bought them for $1 and sold them for $2. Another thing I saw on the streets the other day was more thugs, more black thugs here and there. And I think they have some relationship to the drug trade. These guys who just looked wrong. Anyway, at least Evan, at least 11 overdoses reported in a half day on Friday in Portland, leaving 3 people dead in what police believe to be fentanyl-related incidents. A 33-year-old man died shortly before noon. A 25-year-old woman died at 8:20 p.m. And another person, who police did not describe, died 32 minutes later. Why did they not describe the person? Probably because they didn't even know. They probably had this poor soul in front of them, and with the gender confusion and everything else, they weren't quite certain. Maybe even after they looked under the skirt, they weren't quite certain. So they just said, other. All of the calls were in the general downtown area of Portland for these ODs. There were 2 calls at Southwest 4th and Washington. That's the drug market. Plus single calls at 1st and Main, 4th and Alder, 4th near Oak, 5th and Washington. So these are all in that little area. These are all at the drugstore or right around it. Southwest 6th near Washington, Southwest Broadway and Oak. And these other places are a little farther away. Northwest 3rd, Northwest NATO, West Burnside. Narcan was used in 6 of those calls, including one of the fatalities, police said. Narcan is often used to effectively counteract the effects of an opioid overdose. Though police carry it, Allen said the supply is dwindling. There have been times when officers have told me that they have arrived on an overdose and they haven't had any Narcan because they used it all. And certainly when we're using this, and much of it in a short period of time, the supply issues are certainly a huge concern. Should I invest in this stuff? By the way, Everett, did you define Lindy for me yet? Or is that Lindy? Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm having to look at the comments on my phone, and I can't even see them really from here because I broke my good glasses. I'm breaking everything, man. I'm breaking. Yeah. So anyway, that's where we're at. That's where things stand in Portland. How do they stand with you? Let me take a look. Let me see if I can pull up the chat here. I should be able to pull up my chat box here on the screen. No, chat. There you are. Chat. Chit chat. Hi, Sigil. Sigil says cops equal trash men. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, this is a result of harm reduction. Now, that's a phrase used for their strategy of decarceration. Right? There's no punishment, no arrest. Harm reduction seeks not to modify behavior or rehabilitate, but just to mitigate whatever harm is being caused by their activities. And harm reduction is, of course, the stuff. Let's pass out needles. Let's give them Narcan when they go belly up. Let's take food to them. Let's take water to them where they are. I read a ridiculous story. No, it was on Twitter, so I follow the various people here around here. One of the things I follow is Portland Street Response. That's our so-called social workers in place of cops here, right? Unarmed people who go to deal with mental health cases. Because the thing with progressives, if they're trying to eliminate all contact between police and the police and the public, because that's how people end up in jail. Police can't put you in jail if they don't contact you. So part of that, it's Joanne Hardesty, the Wraith. It's a program she pushed. It's based on something out of San Francisco, like a lot of our stuff. And Portland Street Response, yeah. So they're supposed to go out, and it actually a good idea applied properly, right? If you could find those rare cases where it makes sense to send somebody, But even then, you'd have to have an armed cop with these poor people. or you're going to get somebody killed. Anyway, Portland Street Response just the other day tweeted something about so they'll tweet whatever call they get, right? Went to see somebody in distress on Third Avenue or something, right? And one of their tweets was, they were called to the train station to provide warm food and whatever else a newcomer needed. Some guy shipping in from out of state, and we get lots of those. Uh, as he gets off the train in Portland, Street Response is there to offer him warm clothes. I've got nothing against offering warm clothes to people who need it, but that's harm reduction. That's harm reduction in a nutshell. All those poor bastards at Fourth and Washington literally dying in front of us, right? Um, and here comes another one, right? And they're showing up at the, he's greeted, by the welcome wagon. Here, you need some clothes. You need what, here, they'd probably give you a list of services and everything else. Yeah. Anyway, harm reduction causes a lot of harm, as you see. And there's still no clear path out of this. What we have in here, we have the moderates. Again, moderate here is like, progressive liberal. A moderate in Portland is a progressive liberal who is down with whatever the real estate industry wants, so they get funded. We lost Joanne Hardesty last election. She was beat by the establishment guys, this new guy who's like a real estate developer-backed dude. So our city council isn't so crazy anymore. In fact, we lost the two radicals, Carmen Rubio. Is it Carmen Rubio? I always forget her name. Carmen Rubio, she didn't last long, and Joanne. Excuse me. And they're replaced by more moderate people. So we have a less radical city council. We have Ted Wheeler, rejuvenated, he wants to do something about this. He's trying. But what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Ted's plans are not enough. Ted's plans, like I said, we're going to shelter them all into massive camps away from the city. And I guess reinstitute the ban on camping, and then the shoots will come back up, good fucking luck with that. No, I mean, that's not going to be enough. And the idea that it's a housing issue, and Wheeler's plan seems to recognize this. The idea that it's a housing issue is nuts. It's a drug issue. There is a huge problem, and they're going to be. I've become more convinced of this now than I was before, that there is a significant slice of that population that are people that could probably maintain an apartment if they had a job and money, but that's probably a tiny minority. Like I said, everybody on the street yesterday was fucking high and erect. The people who are left now, they put up beds. The beds are there. They're shelter beds. There are options, but everybody left now is the people. The hard cases are so fucked up. They can't even. They won't go find a bed. They won't. Nothing's going to coax them off the street, right? They just love that drug. Yeah, as I understand it, meth is still the highest killing, most fatal of our drugs because there's no Narcan for it. Not because it's most used; it's still in high use, but they're getting more fatalities because there's nothing to do for a meth freak when he's ODing. Yeah, I've got to go. Thank you so much. I don't have time. We'll do this. If we have to do it on this shitty little Chromebook, we'll do that. But anyway, I didn't even mean to talk today, but thank you guys for coming out. We'll do this at least same time next Monday. Sooner, though. 14 words, Everett. 14. Robert Stark on the timeline. Yeah, well, Robert has been sending me stuff. I didn't know what to make of Robert. I like him. I had him on the show once, and he pissed me off because he saw that he only had like 10 people watching, and he paled. For a long time, I was like, fuck that guy. But, Stark is doing his thing. I didn't know what his story is, but he occasionally puts out something interesting, like his last piece. Yeah, I've got all kinds of freaks on my timeline now. Yeah, so I follow all these freaks, the enemy accounts. Anyway, yeah. I just wanted to say one thing too before I go. I'm profoundly demoralized, and I'm not going to quit because I can't. There's nothing else for me to do. I don't have a hobby, or I don't have a trade, so I'm going to have to stick with this. But yeah, shaken. It's as if the resistance gives. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden, boom, I've made aware. It's more like I've been holding it down, smirking, just like in everything else in my miserable life, smirking my way through. And it's just like, it's no longer plausible. No longer works. I just gave up yesterday in a sense. Yeah. And then I watched an episode of, like I said, True Detective, and watched Matthew McConaughey, say things that I'd been thinking myself. All right, guys. God bless you. We will win. We will win. We will win. Let me just find the proper send-off for all this. Yeah, everything's clunky because I'm using this book, this Chromebook. Yeah, it's going to be great when we get this thing up and rolling properly. Send the squadron out. Let's send the squadron out to Portland.
Suoni abbattenti, suona chitarra mia, suoni abbattenti. Di colpi giusti lo suona tutti di colpi giusti suona chitarra mia, di colpi giusti suona chitarra mia. Ruspiti dallo sonno, non più dormire, ruspiti dallo sonno, non più dormire, e non ci dormi qua, e non ci dormi qua, e non ci dormi quando c'è la bimba male. C'è bimba mari e non ci dormi quando c'è bimba mari, un letto di viole, un letto di viole, ci tu facci. Materasselli, cuscini di seta e i lenzuoli sogni arcamati. belli e l'occhi tuoi vivaci sono i fronni di mamma. Rapilu belli che da parlare, te va visto in parole, ti lamento li scordare, te va visto in parole, ti lamento li scordare. Io battenti, sono chitarra mia, sono chitarra mia, sono io battenti, sono chitarra mia. Sono abbattenti, sono abbattenti, sono abbattenti, sono abbattenti.
Attenti.